Hello and welcome. While the global community has made strides in civil rights, discrimination remains an urgent global crisis. Today, we are joined by human rights expert, Dr. Johan, to discuss what racism looks like today and how we can dismantle it. Dr. Johan, welcome. Let's start with the basics. How do we define racism in the 21st century?
Well, thank you for having me today. We are gonna to define racism not just as individual prejudice, but as a systemic and institutional structure. According to the United Nations Human Rights Office, racism encompasses racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerances. It occurs when institutions like housing, education, and the justice system perpetuate inequalities based on race, maintaining a power imbalance that privilege one group over another.
Many people wonder why. In an interconnected and modern world, racism still stubbornly exists. Why is it so hard to eradicate?
It persists because it is deeply embedded in history. Modern systemic racism is a direct legacy of colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade. These historical systems created ideologies to justify exploitation, and those biases were passed down through generations.
And we see this playing out in real time today. What are some recent global examples of this?
Absolutely. We see it in the documented racial disparities in criminal justice systems worldwide, notably highlighted by the Amnesty International 2024-2025 global reports. We also see it in the rise of digital hate speech and algorithmic bias, where AI technologies and inadvertently mimic human prejudice. Furthermore, the World Health Organization recently highlighted how minority communities globally face severe disparities in healthcare access and environmental pollution, often referred to as environmental racism.
The data is stark, but behind the statistics are real people. What are the concrete consequences of this discrimination on individuals and society as a whole?
On an individual level, the tool is devastating. Research published by the American Psychological Association shows that chronic exposure to racism leads to racial trauma, resulting in higher rates of depression, anxiety, and cardiovascular disease due to chronic stress. On a societal level, racism fractures communities and drains the economy. A landmark study by Citigroup estimated that systemic racism and discrimination have cost the USA economy alone roughly 16 trillion over 2 decades due to gaps in wage, housing, and higher education. When we exclude people based on race, society loses immense human and economic potential.
That economic and human cost is staggering. Let's pivot to solutions. Your work emphasizes education, respect, and inclusion. How do we move from just not being racist to actively taking action?
It requires shifting from a passive stance to an active anti-racism framework. First, education. We must reform educational curricula to teach honest history as recommended by UNESCO's Global Citizenship Education Initiatives. And the next one is institutional reform. Corporations and governments need to move beyond diversity checkboxes and implement measurable equality audits in hiring and promotion. And for last one, individual actions. Culturally, it starts with micro interventions, calling out causal racism in our social circles and actively supporting legislations that protects marginalized groups.
A powerful reminder that neutrality is no longer an option. Dr. Johan, thank you so much for your invaluable insights today.
Thank you. Change is collective, and it starts with conversations like this, I think.
To our viewers, dismantling racism isn't the job of those affected by it. It is a shared human responsibility. Educate yourself, speak up, and take action in your community. Thank you for watching and see you next time.